All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's workshop. Today, we are going to be together. So if you're new to me, my name is Kelly Schaefer. I've been in the industry since 2010. I left behind my career in nursing. I worked in healthcare for over 21 years. I worked in dietary. I was a nurse's aide. I was a registered nurse. I was a nurse manager in a nursing home. I had a lot of healthcare experience. And then in 2010, because I just had this constant like pull inside of me to do something else, like I think I was really just burnt out. And I was like, I don't know how to do anything else. All I know how to do is be a mom and take care of people. And I really thought that those gifts weren't good enough. I really thought that I needed to have so much more. And I literally, my very first business plan was I'm going to do some shit for some people. That was my business plan, y'all. I'm going to do some shit for some people. But then what happened was I started hanging up some flyers and hanging flyers at the grocery store. And I started doing all the things that I was reading online or I was reading from some books. And I quickly realized that I needed to learn how to do more than just hang flyers and have a website and a logo. So I actually needed to learn about this thing called marketing. And I dove headfirst into it. I would take books out of the library. I would sign up for marketing seminars locally, online, you name it. I did all the things. A lot of what I was learning did not work for our industry because I believe our industry has some nuances to it that other businesses just don't quite get. And so then it took me almost about 18 months or so. I was getting some clients, like one here, one there, one here, one there, a little gig here. And then about 18 months in, things really started to shift for me. And because I was literally trying everything, and everything started to shift for me. And a few months later, I ended up having to hire my first helper. At the time, I had 4 children. At the time, my youngest, I think Jack was, if I calculate it properly, he was almost 5 or had just turned 5. So I had like a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 8-year-old. Maybe Colby might have been a little bit older when I started my business. And then my oldest was in college. So I've been around the block for a while. I've learned a lot of things. And what I'm going to share with you today is kind of like a combination of things that I like picked up and learned and failed at along the way. And then how I would learn from things year after year. And then every year between Christmas and New Year's, I always, in the very beginning, I didn't take that week off because I thought my clients would maybe need me. And for the first 2 or 3 years, I was like, they don't actually really need me. And I used to think that was a problem. And I would stress out because my clients didn't need me that week. And I would go into like a tailspin of fear. And then I started being like, well, instead of like stressing over this week that they don't need me every year, what if I just use this week every year to my advantage, right? Because I would have like a dip in the summer as well, where I would kind of like notice, oh, it seems like between these couple weeks here, I usually have a little bit of dip. And then here's when like things get really busy and explode again. And so like using those dips to my advantage is what I started to do. That was something I didn't see most other people doing. So then that week between Christmas and New Year's, I would do a combination of just like sitting in my decision making and just sitting and making decisions for the next year and sometimes the next 2 years for my business, but from a grounded place of rest versus trying to fix and solve problems in the business and move the business forward from a place of taking care of clients and being busy and sometimes being exhausted and sometimes being tired and sometimes trying to, balance clients. And if you have kids, you know what it's like to even just like balance your own household. And then when you have clients, it's like you're balancing you, your household, your kids, all of your personal needs, plus all the needs of all of your clients. You don't really have a moment to really sit and make decisions from this more grounded place. So that's what I want to talk about today, making some decisions from a more grounded place. And so I'm going to give you 10 things that I decide every year in that week between Christmas and New Year's. And this way you can start making those decisions for yourself as well. As I did this like year after year, I have a family. So sometimes, and they were off of school, being completely honest here, sometimes I needed to get away. So I started booking like a local hotel, like a little local bougie kind of hotel. I would go check myself in for the day. I would stay there all day. I would try to get an early check-in and a late checkout. I would stay there all day with I would bring like things like this, like flip chart papers, Post-it notes, markers, journals. And I would just stay in the room for an entire day and order room service. And I did this for myself. And what it did is I felt like I knew exactly what I was going to do when the new year rolled around. Now, that doesn't mean that you know every minute of every day how your next year is going to pan out for you, but the more decisions you can make up front from a grounded place, the less decisions you're making like when your pants are on fire, right? So if you have ever found yourself like running your business and maybe you saw somebody else do something in the industry and you're like, oh my God, I got to do that too. Or you're out networking and you met someone and they're like, oh, you know what you should do? You should do XYZ. And you're like, oh my God, yeah, I got to go do that. Right. That's kind of like making decisions with your pants on fire versus making decisions that are right for you, that are aligned for you, that feel good for you. And then taking those decisions into your business in the new year. So let us get started. Okay, so the first thing that I do every year, and if you have not done this yet, you want to make sure you do this. This is going to take this is going to be one of those things you're going to want to go back and do after the workshop. But I'm going to try to break it down a little bit today where we're going to work on a couple and then some of them I'll give you like a couple minutes to like actually workshop it yourself and think about it and maybe even come up with your own answers. And then I also have some people who are here with us today who are going to do some moments of inspiration, some just little moments of inspiration to share with you, like how their journey has changed over the course of the past year or 2 years, working with me inside some of my coaching containers. Because as of today, we are open for enrollment for Fully Booked Business Club, and enrollment closes next Friday, December 8th. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but we're only open for enrollment from today until next Friday, and that's going to set us up to kickstart our new group in January. So I know I already got some questions with people that are like, I have so much going on right now. I want to join, but I can't think of, doing this now. That's why we actually start in January, but we enroll now to get you ready for January. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to do a full business review. Okay. And so some of these things that you're going to look at when you do your full business review is if you had or set a money goal this year, what was your money goal in the beginning of the year? And what are you on track to do? And we never use this to like beat ourselves up. I used to do that all the time. I would set a money goal for like 100K. And I think I set a goal for 100K one year. And I think I did like 77. And then I beat myself up about it. Don't do that, because that provides no value to you. Beating yourself up about the goal does not provide any value to you. But you do want to be aware of it so that when you're making decisions for the next year to come, what is going to have to change, okay? So your money goal is first. If you hit your goal, or even if you hit your goal somewhat, how did you do that? You want to look at how did you create those results? And then if you didn't hit your money goal, why do you think that was? And then this question, sometimes we have to do some deep, like personal, like investigation, like really be true with yourself. The one thing that I want you to be aware of is blaming other people, like blaming the state of the world right now, blaming the government, blaming money. Like, yes, some of those things can be true, right? If when I started my business, we were in the middle of the like real estate crash and like a mini recession at the time. I knew about it, but I didn't even think, I wasn't even aware enough to even like try to blame the state of the cost of gas for why I wasn't getting clients, right? Because it doesn't actually serve you. So when you look at that, you want to think of the things that you personally have had control over. So yes, there might be some circumstantial things in the world, but take ownership for what you contribute to. Some of you too also might go through or have gone through life, right? When you're building your business, you're not just building a business, you have a life too. And life is going to life, whether you want it to or not. So for example, maybe you had I think one of my old clients, she just had a wedding, right? One of my other clients, I've had a couple clients this year who are caretakers. They're primary caretakers for family members. So they had to like take a step back from their business a little bit. So just knowing that, so that you understand like how you got to where you got, how you created the results that you ended up with this year. So there have been times where I might have had like a terrible month, and I just look at it and I'm like, okay, how did this month end up like this? And I'll ask myself some questions and I'll evaluate it. And a lot of it has to do with marketing and what I was doing 3 months beforehand and whether I was planned or I wasn't planned. But another question I look at is like, was life lifing? I've had kids going off to college. I had a son who was working on an Eagle project this year. I took extra time off this summer to be at my beach house and work less. Like some things I did this year, like I intentionally decided to work less. So just to give you a broad overview of how to really look at this goal, more than did I hit it or did I not hit it? So if you hit it, how did you hit it? And even if you didn't hit it all the way, how did you create the results that you did create? So let's say your goal this year was 50K and you did 28. How did you create that $28,000 worth of results, even if you didn't hit the 50? And then ask yourself, why did you not hit the 50? What were the circumstances that you had control over, not out there, that you personally can take personal responsibility for, whether they were intentional or not intentional? Okay. Most people do not think this through at that level. and it will reveal so much to you, because it will immediately reveal to you like what is working in your business. It will immediately reveal to you what's not working in your business. It will immediately reveal to you maybe your marketing that is working or your marketing that is not working. It will reveal to you where your commitment has been, or maybe where your commitment has not been. It will reveal to you maybe where your time management and productivity have been this year, and maybe where it hasn't been this year. It will reveal to you where your focus has been this year, and maybe where your focus has not been this year. Instead of just being like, yeah, hit my goal, yay, woohoo, move on. And, oh, didn't hit my goal, okay, move on, right? There's so much value out of really thinking about this. Okay, so kind of having a little bit of this business review in your mind, I want you to also think about your clients and the clients that you had this year. And the way I want you to think about them is like the clients that you have, if you were to go back and you had the opportunity to be rehired by that client again, would you say yes or would you say no? And this is actually going to lead us into point number 2. Would you say yes or would you say no? Then why or why not? Why or why not? Again, this will reveal so much to you. So I want you to take a minute and just like think about that now. Like if you could like list the clients that you had this year, whether it was it's an ongoing client, a package client, a membership client, a one-off client, you want to look at all of them. And then with that answer, the question number 2 that you want to decide is, what do you want to change? And that also includes stop doing. I remember years ago, I had a student who was in, back then we called it Ignite, but now it's 100K Club. When she did her evaluating, she realized, because she was, working some with seniors and she was working with, she was kind of like doing a little bit of everything. That was her intention. She kept going back to, I'm going to do a little bit of everything. And she realized quickly that she didn't actually want to work with seniors. So with looking at this question, she knew then moving forward that she wasn't going to work with seniors anymore. She really enjoyed like organizing. That was the services that she really wanted to offer. And so having that knowledge then changed some of the other decisions that she needed to make about her business that we'll get to as we keep moving on. So what do you want to change, and maybe what do you want to stop doing? Right. The third question is, are you planning on raising your rates this year? And then if so, what quarter? The reason why you actually want to make this decision, again, up front, is making the decision from a grounded, abundant place. What I see happen a lot to people is they will, for example, they'll set we'll go back to that 50K goal, right? They set a goal for 50K. They're not getting the traction that they thought they would. They are not really mastering their marketing just yet. And so they decide that to either hit the goal or to make more money quickly, they're going to increase their rates. But then what happens is you're increasing your rate from a place of fear versus a place of abundance. We never want to increase our rates from a place of fear, because the energy that will go into your marketing, you are literally putting out, I'm afraid I can't get clients. And then the people who you're trying to work with and your potential clients can actually feel your fear of need and your fear of lack and your fear of lack of abundance. Okay. So when you want to be thinking in advance, do I plan on raising my rates this year? Yes or no? And if it's an I don't know, like you might be like, I'm not exactly sure just yet. Then ask yourself, then you do it this way. If you're in the I don't know camp, be like, ask yourself, do I think I would do it in Q1? And you're like, definitely not. Okay, so you know it's not Q1. Would I do it in Q2? I don't think so. Would I do it in Q3? Possibly. So then you know now that you're going to consider raising your rates in Q2 or Q3, right? So pick which one, because then you need to make the decision in advance before you raise your rates. So if you decide, no, I definitely don't want to do it Q1. I think I might want to raise my rates on Q2. Q2 rolls around, which is April, and April 7th, you're like, oh, I need to raise my rates. And then you're trying to, again, with your pants on fire, raise your rates, and then you start getting confused. Am I raising my rates here? Am I raising my rates with current clients? Am I raising my rates with new clients? Am I only raising my rates here? Am I if I raise my rates with my current clients, are they going to leave me? And again, you're approaching your decision from a place of fear and all the mind trash that's happening versus being like, I'm going to raise my rates effective Q2. That means in Q1, I'm going to set time on my calendar to decide when in Q2 am I going to raise my rates. This way, again, you can do it thoughtfully and from a grounded place. Like, why am I deciding now to raise my rates? Why would it be as good for my clients as it is for me to raise my rates? And when you think about raising rates, you can also think about any other like money-related, rate-related changes that you need to make. A few years ago, I had a client who was also in 100K Club, who most of her clients were memberships and packages, and she had been offering like one-off services, like with a 2-hour minimum, but she had decided when she was reevaluating that the amount of work that went into those 2-hour minimums was actually not worth her time. So she decided to stop offering just like one-off services and only worked with clients in packages and memberships. So I had made that same decision for myself a few years ago. Another question you want to ask yourself now, and something I like to do when I'm kind of like going through this, that really helps my brain, because I like to really like kind of see things, is, and I'll take like one of these actually, because I like to see stuff big. And I'll go like this, and I'll go Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So for example, if we're going to go back to the raising your rates thing, let's say you're going to raise your rates in Q2, then you can write on there, raise rates. This way, you know up front when you start looking at your marketing calendar and how you are planning on running your business for the next year, you already have some things that are like earmarked, so to speak, for different times of the year, which will tie us in right away to number 4. And number 4 is, are you going to run any promotions this year? Now, if you've been in my world for a while, you know, I don't offer, like, the way I do it is not discounts, not sales, a promotion. Just has a little bit of a different feel behind it. So if you're going to run promotions this year, again, this is where this might come in handy. So I'll just put one down here, for example, Q4. If you've been following some of the YouTube videos and stuff that have been going out. So maybe you do a holiday promotion in Q4. And then if there are any other promotions that you feel aligned with that you would want to run in your business. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to think about that. And then while you are working on that, I wanted to see if Heather was around. Heather Hatchie. If you are, can you like raise your hand for me so I can find you? There you are. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to bring you on screen with me. All right, so hold on 1 second. Okay, here you go. You should be popping in. There you go. You can put your camera on. Hey, hey.
Hi.
Okay. How are you?
Good.
Awesome. So Heather is a member of Fully Booked Business Club. And so I asked her if she would do just one of our little moments of inspo and just come on and just share just a couple things about her business and what she has learned, like why she joined Fully Booked and what she has learned since being part of that and some of the results that she has created. And we're going to do this super fast because we have a lot to cover. So she's just going to do this in like 3 minutes or less, right? She's been practicing. All right, go ahead. I'm going to silence myself.
In front of me.
Oh, she wrote it all out. Okay. Well, go from the heart. Just hit your nuggets.
Okay.
And just share with everybody how it's made a difference in your life and for your business.
Okay. Well, I started with Kelly back in 2022. I did take some time off in between that, just because of family issues. But when I did get my head back on straight, I was able to pick everything I needed to do. But right now, when Kelly made me sit and think, what I've learned, especially in the last, I'd say 7 to 8 months, I was more confident. I found out that I'm more confident now after taking Kelly's Fully Booked class. First, I was very nervous about doing it and putting all that money into it because I was like, I wasn't quite sure. I know I wanted to do this type of job, but I just wasn't sure because she was American, down in America. Like we do things a little different here in Canada to a point. But after I watched some of her videos and took her free marketing class with her, I was like, yes, I got to do it. And so since then, since become more confident, I've gotten all my things locked down, pricing, the big thing I had to learn though was marketing, because I was a realtor previously, but all that stuff was done for me by my brokers. So I never had to think that way. So my big thing right now was trying to get into the CEO mind. I was always the technician, she calls it, or doer.
Yeah.
I never had to think of that other part. And even to this day, it's still hard for me to go CEO. I always want to, I'm good at planning, but doing the other part of it right now is just all, but since taking this class and being with all the group, or talking with the other girls on our Facebook pages, it actually made me really more confident. Um, and then she also helped me with my networking. I can talk to people, but I never really like, she got me to narrow down my purpose of how to speak about my business. And now it's so much easier. I go to my networking class or groups now, and it's just like it's second nature now to talk. And things are coming out easier. I can explain it better, and I almost say sometimes I have to not dumb it down, but put it in different words. Because as soon as I say concierge, people go, huh?
People go, huh? What are you even talking
Yeah.
about?
So I said, and then I just I almost take that word out a little bit sometimes and just say, I help organize your life, whatever you need. And because my business name is or the lifestyle genie, or lifestyle, yeah, genie, I say, what's your three wishes? And that just like gets people talking.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have
So
thought
good.
about that stuff without
So good.
Kelly's group. And then, yeah, it's just, I know right now I didn't meet my goal that I wanted, but I am on track to meet the goal I met for this, or that I made for this quarter. So
Perfect.
hopefully December is going to be my big month. So
Yeah.
I meet my quarterly goal. Um,
Yeah. So
but yeah.
a couple things I just want to add. So you were
Mhm.
saying that like in the beginning you started saying you took time off because you had some things that you were navigating with family. And by
Yes,
taking time off, like she didn't take time off from the group. She was still part of the group. She just wasn't actively promoting her
promoting yeah.
business anymore,
Mhm.
but she was still showing up to our calls, which allowed her to keep staying plugged in and stay plugged into the community and still hear what everybody else is doing, which then allows you to feel supported so that when it is time, when life calms down, it's easier to just jump right back in. Because I want to point that out for people who have even ever experienced that in their own life, like where you've had to step away to take care of somebody or something, again, life, and then just find ways to keep yourself motivated and try to stay as positive as you can so that when the time is right, you can jump back in.
Mhm.
And then, so what are some of like and then how you said too, like you haven't hit your goal per se for the year, but you've had moments again where you had to pause, right? So,
Mhm.
so when we looked at like, why did this happen? You're like, oh, well, I intentionally took this time off, which is why, of course, I did not hit the goal that I thought I wanted to hit when I set my goal in the beginning of the year. But now that I'm back in and I'm back on track and I'm doing my marketing consistently and following the process, this quarter can change everything, right? So
Mhm.
at any moment, one quarter can literally change everything
Yeah,
because
once
it's
I had,
the accumulation of efforts that you've been putting in up until this point. So go
yeah,
ahead.
once I was able to, well, the family stuff kind of died down, and then I came back and I was able to get, in the last 6 months, I got 7 clients just
That's
because I was
amazing.
able to bump up my marketing and get out there more.
Yeah.
Though right now, most of my clients are word of mouth, and I had a couple referrals from other friends.
Yeah. And word of mouth and referrals, we think happens to us, but it actually doesn't happen to us. They actually are a direct result of the marketing that you're still putting out there. We think it's all word of mouth, which it feels like it is, but the reason why there is word of mouth is because of the marketing that you are doing and doing so in a consistent way. So awesome. All right. So I'm going to have you go back to attendee and we are going to, so if you were to tell, if anybody was like, oh, I think I want to do this, but I'm not sure, what would you tell them?
Well, I was one of those, but I'd say do it because you can't go wrong. Like I'm so grateful that I did it because I mean I always wanted to work for myself again, and yeah, I'm right now I'm so happy with the decision I made. And I don't think I could have done this because I get conflicting information from other friends of mine who have businesses. I think I mentioned it to you before because they sell things like jewelry, stuff like that. And they keep saying, oh, no, you're not doing it right. But I was like, no, I'm learning from the person who's actually done it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's helping me not to do some of the pitfalls she did, but
Yes.
it helps me get my business quicker. And I said, how can that be wrong? And I was like, no, I said, so I blanked or I kind of blocked them
Yeah,
out. And
sometimes you have to put some blinders
yes,
on and just like follow the
yeah,
process. I'm
because they did
telling you,
upset me
it
for a bit. And then I
works.
was just like, no, I said, no, I'm not, especially after our CA live, that even like reinforced it more for me that I'm on the right track
Awesome.
and to keep going.
That's so good. All right. So thank you so much, Heather. All right. Let me move you back to panelist. Whoop. Nope. That's not right. Um, how do I do? Hold on, y'all. Here we go. Oh, here we go. There's what I got to find. Here we go. I figured it out. Yay. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Let's keep moving on. Okay. Number 5, it's probably one of my favoriteest things in the world. So asking yourself now, will you run any referral campaigns in the new year? So will you run any referral campaigns in the new year? And referral campaigns was like, this was one of the decisions that I made. So I do a full planning day. And for members, my current members of Fully Booked Business Club and our 100K club, and anyone who enrolls between now and next week, you'll also attend with us. We have it's a 5-hour strategic planning day on January 15th. Where I take this stuff and we go even deeper and you get my hands on and help you map out all of your marketing. But one of the things, the process that we do on that day, like my full strategic planning day, I would sit again, asking myself certain questions, looking at certain statistics in my business and looking at areas that I wanted to proactively improve. And one of the things that I wanted to improve on was getting referrals. But we know that one of the ways to get more referrals is to ask for more referrals. So that year, I forget what year it was. It might have been like 2017, I think, was the year that I decided that I wanted to become a 50% referral-based business in the following year. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because when I looked at everything and I looked at my business and the clients that I was bringing in, that the clients that came in by referral were easier, like they were easier to sell and they spent more money, right? So they bought bigger packages and they didn't do a lot of, I have to think about it. Let me talk to my husband. They didn't do a lot of that. The people who came to me by referral basically came to me ready to hire me. All they wanted to know was like, how do I get started? What's the process? So when I realized that, I was like, oh, if I want to find ways to eliminate like excess time that might get wasted in the business and save time, bringing in referrals will save me time. Because you think about all the time I would spend on the phone, it would save me time, help me increase revenue just by intentionally asking for and creating more referrals. So that's why, like, that year I made that decision. And then that's why I'm going to ask it to you is, are you going to do any referral campaigns this year? And if you are, right, you can use your little quarterly grid and write down when you're going to do that. So if you're going to run referral campaigns this year, if so, when? So I'm just going to write this in here, referrals. So if that's when you decided you wanted to run referrals, do a referral campaign, you would just write it there. And then if you are, what will your marketing look like to do that? Because we don't just get referrals. Referrals don't just happen to us. We have to create them. So what is the marketing that you will do to create your referrals? So that's what we call a referral campaign. And inside Fully Booked Business Club, there is a module that's all about referrals, like exactly how to do that, how to ask, who to ask, when to ask, the marketing for asking, and then a follow-up process that I developed to increase the likelihood that you get referrals and that you get the right referrals. Because sometimes you might find yourself, you get a bunch of wrong type of client referrals. And just one part of the referral module completely fixes that for you. But if you're going to do referrals, when? And then what is your marketing? So just take like a minute again and just jot down, if you have a couple ideas, just jot down a couple quick ideas about how you're going to do that. Okay. Number 6. I know this might sound ridiculous to make this decision now, but it will save you so much time in the upcoming year if you do it now. Again, this was years of me doing gifting in my business, years of gifting clients, and it becoming more and more stressful the more clients that I got. So to make it easier, in my grand planning session, when I was at my, when I'm at the hotel with my flip chart, thinking about how I want to gift my clients in the new year, I decide up front if I am, when it's going to be, and what I'm going to actually gift. So I know this one you probably didn't expect, but do you gift your clients throughout the year? Maybe you just do it just during the holidays, which is totally fine. Maybe you gift your clients 2 or 3 times during the year. Totally fine. This is completely based on you and how you run your business. But if you are gifting, when? And then what? So this will probably take a little bit of time to sit and maybe do some research or that kind of thing. And of course, think about a budget. What feels like a right budget for where you are in your business right now? I mean, your budget could literally be $20 per client. It could be $50 per client. Like some people get tripped up about the amount of money that they might spend on a client. But if you think about it, if you have a client that's on, let's say, $1,000 a month membership, that means they're spending $12,000 a year with you. You can afford a $50 or $100 gift. I see so many the people that get to and they're like, oh my God, I have 10 clients. It's going to cost me so much money. It's not actually costing you. Your clients that are coming in based on what level of type of client they are, can help you decide how much your budget is going to be for your clients. All right. The next one, again, this one's going to take more thought, but what is your marketing plan for the new year? And then if you did your review and you did your review in depth, like I was explaining to you, then you should have some ideas. Like you should know, like where do I need to tweak things? Where do I need to change things? Where was I maybe spending a lot of time that wasn't working for me? And if you say, there's only a couple people who have come through my program who their results, like the clients that they created, they still came from networking, but there are a couple who ended up, most of their clients came from other avenues that we put in place for them. But otherwise, I don't want to hear that networking doesn't work for me. You're just not working your networking, which is what we'll get to that one next. But what is your marketing plan? Now, when you think about your marketing plan and you go back to your grid, you can put your marketing into the grid. Hanging flyers is not a marketing plan. Posting on social media is not a marketing plan. A lot of people mix up tasks, things to do, a to-do list with a marketing plan. They're not the same thing. A marketing plan is a thought out plan for how you are going to attract new people to your business, how you are going to convert interested people into paying clients, and then how you will nurture existing clients to become repeat and long-term clients. That encompasses your entire marketing plan. Doing social media is not a marketing plan. Going to a couple events is not a marketing plan. All right. Next. I love using this time of year to think about your networking. So number 8 is networking. So when you think about networking, the option to not do networking is not on the table for you. Not if you want to grow. That option is not available to you. But when you look at networking, thinking about what groups are you committing to for the new year? Because when we commit to networking, it's not just like, I'm just going to go when I feel like it. That's not a marketing plan. I'm just going to show up to a networking event, shove my business cards in some faces, and roll out. And that doesn't create the results that you want. Networking is part of your marketing plan, and networking should be a networking plan, not just networking. So think about what groups are you going to commit to for the new year? And then maybe if you've been in business for a while and you've been using networking, especially if you've been in business for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe there are groups that are just no longer a really good fit for you and where you have advanced your business to. Sometimes that's like a gut check. Like you might have been saying in your brain for the past 6 months, I don't really enjoy this group anymore, for whatever the reasons may be. But it doesn't mean that we eliminate networking, but it might be an opportunity for you to switch up where and with whom you're doing your networking. So I'm going to give you, again, just a couple minutes to think through networking, and if you've gone to groups, like think of each one, be like, and again, is it the group's fault or have you just not been doing networking right? Again, a lot of people in the beginning, at least, I did networking completely wrong too. I had to learn how to actually be a good networker. So don't always blame the group. You have to think about, am I using my networking as part of an overall marketing plan? And am I working my networking versus expecting my networking to do the working for me? And then while you're thinking about your networking and your groups that you've gone to or been to or have decided to move on from, I am going to get ready, and then we're going to have another moment of inspo. And next up, I'm going to call Tish. Hopefully Tish is here. So Tish, if you're here, can you raise your hand for me? Oh, there she is. Yay. All righty. All right, I am promoting you to panelist. I think you're coming in. There she is.
Here I am.
Hi.
Good morning or good afternoon almost.
Almost. Good afternoon. Yes. What's going on? How are you?
I'm great. Running in between clients right now.
Okay.
Time to be here for an hour and a half.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Just for the record, do you see that? Like Tish is one of the people, she's been in my world for a couple years now, that she knows that like if there's an opportunity to plan and work and like, and I don't want to say be with me because that's not what I mean, but be with me in a planning capacity. Like she makes sure that she fits it in, and then the clients can buffer around it, which a lot of people are like, oh no, I can't because a client might need me.
Sure,
But
we can say it. We can say we get our Kelly fix wherever we
okay.
need it. We can say that. It's all good.
All right. So go ahead and just talk about like if you can break down just a little bit so the curriculum and Fully Booked and how that helped you learn how to become a marketer, and then in 100K how you really became a CEO for 100K Club. But just like a couple snippets on how that exchange took place over 2.5 years.
Okay.
Or 3
All
years.
right. So what happens in Fully Booked is that you get a very good foundation, a very good framework and structure that of items that you don't even think about, even if you've been in business for years and years and years. So it's like getting a recipe with all the ingredients, but then if you want to change a recipe up to suit your personality, you can do that because Kelly gives you a way to open up your mind and take a look at it and see what's going to fit for you. So in Fully Booked, you learn all the necessities, all of the processes, and you get a good base. And you can adjust it to your personality and your business and what makes most sense for you. And then as you learn, turn over or grow and you go into 100K Club, there are again practices that are put in place to change your thought processes from looking at just doing the job and just creating a job for yourself every day, and how to take a look at your business through the eyes of a business person as the owner and as the CEO. And it's well done. The modules and everything are well done. And as I'm a step-by-step person, and I'm very detailed and very logical, so it makes really a lot of sense for me. So that's what I just completed the program last spring after 4 years. And I have a good base, a good framework, a good knowledge now of the industry as well. And as running my business from two different viewpoints. One is from the CEO and one is from the technician, because I am my entire business and I don't have team yet, or maybe not ever.
Yeah, I know that was a question. You were like, I think I want team, maybe not. I think I do,
Maybe
maybe
not.
not. I think I do, maybe not.
I'll
Yeah.
always sit on the fence about that.
Yeah. Which is a big conversation we have inside 100K Club, because that's more advanced. And a lot of times people want to bring in team. They think that that's the next logical move, is to bring in team, but sometimes that's not the logical move. There are other things in the business that can actually be fixed. You know, time leaks, money leaks, systems leaks, cleaning things up, that actually creates more time so that you can actually make more money, not having to bring on team.
That's right.
And taking on that expense as well. Because that is a decision that you have to think about long term, about,
Right.
managing people and insurance and a lot of different factors that go into it.
Absolutely. And that was one of the big things in 100K was getting administrative software, and which I was doing everything by hand before. And then I went through the process of seeing what would make more sense, was getting software and to help me do the job, or bringing on extra people. Yes. And at my point, I got the software instead, and it helped a lot because it freed up time.
Yeah, frees up your time. Exactly. Yeah. So things that take you, 3 or 4 hours, let's just say a month to do by hand, you can then have the software do that work for you. And maybe it takes you an hour a month. And this has to do with things like scheduling and billing and that kind of thing. This is specifically what Tish is talking about, which was specific to, again, her business. So in the program too, like Tish said, you have a framework and you follow the framework, and there is you and your decision-making and what your biggest goals in your business are, and, your clients and your own personality, and how it's, because you can't, I give you all the formulas, but you have to make it fit and feel good for you, because otherwise you'll never do it, right? I can give you the formulas all day long, and if it doesn't feel in alignment with you, you won't do it. So you get the frameworks, and then I help you tweak them and give you permission really to tweak them to fit you, so that it feels easier.
And that's what I was going to say, is Kelly's very good at helping you discover what is right for you. And if something, just because, somebody else does something one way, doesn't mean it's right for you. And we all learn that as kids, whatever, golden rules, everything. But Kelly's very good at helping you figure those things out and asking the right questions, and getting you to ask yourself those questions to make sure you're on the right road. And it doesn't have to look like everybody else's journey, but your journey is good. And the other thing that's really great about the program when you're in it, even when you're not in it, is you have almost a wolf pack, if you will, of people that you can turn to and ask questions, and they know exactly what you're going through all the time. So it's a good community of people that belong in Kelly's programs. So
yeah, because again, like there are a lot of other business owners out there. Like I've made a lot of good friends in the community through networking over the years and so forth, but they never quite got my business. So having people that like can get your business is a value add, in addition to the relationships that you build outside on your own, in your own networks and so forth.
Right.
Yeah. So is there any lasting thing you would say? Because I know, a lot of times it's like, I don't know if I have the time, or I don't know if I have the money. So what would you say if people are like, I don't think I have the time?
You'll make the time. You just schedule it, you make the time, and you work around it. I did that this morning. I started my first client 2 hours earlier with the client's permission, so that I could stop here these 2 hours in between and come to the program today. And money, if you really break it down and take a look at how much it costs, you'll make it back so fast with what you learn. You get one client and you'll make back the cost of the program right away. So, I mean, for us up here in Canada, we have to add 30% onto that So maybe 1.5 clients, but
One
yeah.
and a half clients if you're in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, but you'll always
Exactly.
find the money and you'll always get it back, and it comes back in spades.
Yeah. And how much time do you save too by investing in the money, and how many shortcuts? Like, how many shortcuts do you think you've made over the years?
Oh, tons. Every part of what we go through in the Fully Booked Club, a lot. You just jump right to the next step without having to think about it. Things like coming up with the Keep in Touch campaign, like that is brilliant. I never would have thought of that on my own, right? And I'm a marketing background, so it's like because I never thought people would want to go back to getting something in the mail. You think it's all electronic now. But Kelly, that's one of the things Kelly teaches you right away, and you think, brilliant. I didn't have to go through 1,000 things, fail to keep in touch with all of your referral partners.
Yeah. So good.
Mhm.
And then one final question I'll ask you, and then is, I know sometimes people are like, okay, they say it's the time or the money, but underneath it's actually the root of why people get stuck on committing and joining is they don't know if it'll work. Like, maybe not from my perspective whether or not it'll work, but whether it'll work for them. Like, sometimes I think we feel like, oh, I'm a unique unicorn. I don't know if I join, I don't know if it's going to work for me. It'll work for everybody else, but
I mean, there's a ton of people that the base framework has worked for. I mean, you can read testimonials and that'll tell you that. But the best thing about it is, even if it doesn't work exactly the way you think it's going to work, you learn from that and you take it and you create some other kind of process or framework that will work for you. Yeah, it's kind of a roundabout way of saying things, but it's like, okay, that what I learned there didn't work. I'll try it. It'll work that way, but chances are, I'm going to tell you, chances are it will work. We have a
pretty high success rate.
Yeah, I have a high referral rate now. I don't do a lot of marketing anymore. I would say my referral rate is over 50% now. So yeah, that's just, clients, referral partners, and how you talk to them and how you create that program.
Yes.
But the majority of it all does work, and it makes it very clear for you to plan for next year.
Yes. So, yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure you've already got your little quadrants all filled in.
Well, one of the reasons why I'm here is just a little nudge to get me going.
I love that. I was so glad when I saw your name come through that you were going to be here today. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
All right. Let's see if I can figure out how to send you back also. Here we go. All right, let's go. All right, let's keep moving on. We have number 9 and number 10. So number 9, this one might feel, I almost didn't give you all this one because it might feel a little bit ambiguous, but I at least want to plant the seed for you, okay? So number 9 is actually what we spend our 5 hours doing at the strategic planning day in January. But I want to give it to you anyway, so if you are a member of 100K Club, or you're a member of Fully Booked Business Club, or you're getting ready to enroll in Fully Booked Business Club, we're going to work on this during our time in January, during the strategic planning day. If you're not with us, I want to just give you the nuggets so that you have something to start to work with. So evaluating your business. So looking at the business and the growth you want to see in 2024 and even like 2025. So in 100K Club, we actually look at 1 year, 2 years, and potentially 3 years out, because based on things that you might want 1 year or 2 years from now to happen, you actually have to start kind of preparing and getting things ready and in place now so that they will happen for you like 2 years from now. But if you're in the first part of your business, like under 50K, looking at your business and then what big projects do you need to look at, consider, or add in as part of your business plan. So this is more than just a marketing plan. These are projects that you're going to put in place in the next year. So what types of projects? So I'll give you an example so that your brain understands what I'm talking about. So back in what I think it was, again, 2017, when I was looking at and evaluating the business, and I was like, oh, okay, so I get like my best clients come from referrals. In the new year, I want to create a 50% or more referral base. So I am, because again, I knew that referrals don't just happen to you. You do things to help make them happen. You proactively create referrals. One of my projects that year was to create and implement a referral campaign throughout the entire year. So you see, this isn't like a to-do item. This is something that is like a bigger project that you will need to do like multiple steps. So for example, here's another one. Let's say you've been in business for a while and you've been getting clients, and now you're ready to invest in building a website, right? A website is not a to-do. A website would be a project. Now, if you've made less than $10,000, $20,000 in your business, don't put a website on there as a project. You don't need that to get clients, and it is a big time suck. It's going to pull all of your time and all of your energy and all of your money and all of your resources, and it's not going to give you the results that you think it's going to give you. I'm telling you, trust me on this. But if you've been getting clients and now you know who your clients are, who's a right fit client, what your pricing is going to be, and you feel more confident in your business, and maybe a website for next year is a project, then that is what I mean by a project. There was something else that, like one year I created a vendor process, right? So it was about how I would work with, curate, build relationships with, and hire out vendors, right? So it wasn't just, again, like this is something you need to sit and really contemplate. It's not a, oh, I'm going to like, I see people do this all the time. It's like, oh, well, if I hire the plumber, can I upcharge it and blah, blah, blah. And honestly, doing that like one human at a time, it's so not even worth the money. You think it's going to be so much more valuable than it is. But one year I put in place a vendor process for how to do this, but it was a project, right? So I decided on the project, and then I had multiple pieces, just like if you were building a website, there's multiple pieces to building a website that I took on for that upcoming year. Now, in January, during the strategic planning day, we will do this together, and you'll share like your projects with me, and I will, knowing you, your business, and where you are, I'll help steer you a little bit and help you prioritize the projects. Okay, so then once you have your projects, you need to prioritize them. Now, I like to look at 6 to 8 projects a year. If you're new doing this, that's way too many. You're never going to get that many done. It's going to feel so overwhelming. Don't do that to yourself. If you are newer or doing something and thinking about your business in this way, this feels a little bit like if you're newer to it, it's going to feel very big. Don't make it so overwhelming that you will just what I don't want you to do here is write down a bunch of shit, and then come February or March, you've actually forgotten about everything that you've decided. Don't do that to yourself. So when you do sit down and think about like what would be, I would think if you're newer at it, pick 4 and then just do one per quarter. Like, what's one project? And then what you'll do is you will work on, and if 4 is too many, maybe it's only 2 for you. And then making sure that you, again, prioritize these. So if you come up with, and sometimes what'll happen is you can come up with like a list of like 7 and then look at it and be like, okay, which of these 7, what 4 of these 7 is going to help me really move the needle forward in my business next year? The fastest, the easiest, with the greatest return of my time and like my time investment, right? Because sometimes it's money investment and sometimes it's time investment. So think about them and then prioritize them. Like, actually, speaking of Tish, like I remember years ago when she decided to add in, again, she learned this in 100K Club. When we go for referrals and not just doing like referral marketing, but doing and referral campaigns, but like doing referral events. And so she learned how to do that in 100K Club. So that would be a project, a new project for the upcoming year. Now that she's done it, and she's done it for, I think she's done it 2 years in a row now, maybe 3. It's no longer a new project. That project that she worked out, that new process, is now just part of her marketing, right? And she even said she doesn't market as much as she used to because she doesn't have to, because she's put in the groundwork of her marketing. The same thing happened with me. I put in enough groundwork of my marketing with my networking and my following up and building relationships that I created so much of it that I was able to take my foot off the gas and steer more of my time towards building these referral campaigns and referral events versus maybe going to, 8 networking events a month anymore. But you need to do the groundwork first. So when you're thinking about these big core projects for the year, think about them. Think about how, which ones you want to prioritize. And then what you'll do is, like, let's say this was, you want to create, I'm just going to write referral campaign is your number 1 project that you want to focus on in quarter 1. That means, like, throughout quarter 1, you'll have like January, February, and March, you'll have like steps that you're going to do to help for this, so that at the end of quarter 1, this project is completed. Okay. This is how we break things down also. And this is also how you will add something in to your overall marketing plan. So your marketing plan is your marketing plan. A project is something that you have not created or you have not maybe even committed to yet. So sometimes people who are newer in business, they come up with like their project is going to be their marketing plan. And then we will map out your marketing plan. But then you have to make sure that you're actually doing it, because otherwise at the end of the year, it's not going to have the result that you want it to have. Okay. Number 10, which is actually technically first. Number 10 is actually first. But I wanted to get through the meaty stuff first before I gave you number 10. Number 10 is looking at your business, and don't forget, you have a life. So looking at your life, vacations, big events, birthdays, time off. Make sure that your life is thought through first. Okay? And then you can use your quarterly grid again to put them all in. So for example, for me, like if I were to put like big events in as a business owner, not Mine will look like I will have, so for example, I open the doors to fully booked once a quarter, right? So Q1 would be fully booked enrollment, fully booked enrollment, fully booked enrollment, fully booked enrollment. But then I have to create, like, how am I going to do the enrollment? And that takes like weeks to plan out and all the stuff. But in addition to that, let's say, so Q1 for me, I am going to a mastermind event of my own, whereas I am the student. I am going to take 5 days off with my husband, either January or February. I still need to nail that part down yet. In Q2, my son Jack graduates from high school. So I need to have his grad date, and I need to pick out a party date. January, February, March, April, May, June. June is also going to be my 20th anniversary. And I am going to, my husband and I are going to go away for a week. August, we always have a week at the beach together. I work from my beach house during the summer, but my husband takes off a week in August every year. And we also have a week off in July as a family where I'm not working. April, May, June. Oh, sorry, that's not here. That's July. July, August, September, right? August also is, we're going to have college move-in ×2 because Emma will be going back and Jack will be a freshman. I can't even think about Q4 right now. But these are just some of like the core things like I thought about when I started doing my quarterly plan. Okay, so making sure that your life goes in it in advance. And the reason why you want to do that is so that when you're picking your projects and you're planning your marketing in advance, you have life already planned out for yourself so that it's not like your business doesn't need to bump up against life. Your business is just part with your life. And it makes things so much smoother. And then I will show you. So I haven't hung it yet, and I will send a link out to the for this calendar that I use every year. I'm not going to pull it completely out for you, but I buy a big ass wall calendar every year. It goes on my wall. It's really big. I have a big wall in my office, so it takes up my whole wall. There is a smaller version of this, and I put it up, and literally the first thing that goes on it is my family stuff, and I have it color coded too because I'm that kind of person. So then I'll put all my vacations, travel. Oh, actually Q4, I'm going to Morocco. I was supposed to go to Morocco this year, but because of and I always forget if it's 1R, 2Cs, or 2 and 2. I don't remember. It got rescheduled this year. So I'll be going to Morocco in Q4. And I may go to Paris too. Because traveling is my spirit animal. Okay. So I want to bring on one more guest if she's still here. And then stick around with me because then I'm going to answer some questions at the end. I have a little bit of buffer time. I don't have a lot. I actually have to double check because I have a call with a one-on-one client this afternoon. But in the meantime, Claire, if you're still here, can you raise? Oh, there it is. You're so good. They're so good. All right, I'm going to bring you on to panelist. And I just want to double check. Nope. Today is not December 14th. Okay. Hello, lovely. Oh, look, girl's got her hair did and everything.
You usually see me at my worst because I'm going to work after this.
Good for you.
Yes.
All right. So Claire is a newer member to our community, and she is in 100K Club. So Claire did not, a lot of people come like in through fully booked. They do fully booked for a year, maybe 18 months, and then they ascend and come into 100K Club. Claire did not do that. Claire did not need fully booked. Claire was fully booked, and Claire came directly into 100K Club. And what stood out when she enrolled and we had a conversation, she was like many other people who are in that phase where they have a lot of clients, but then they don't have a lot of time. And then you get on this little wheel, and it's like that little rat wheel, and you don't know how to get off because you're afraid if you stop anything, everything's going to fall apart. There's no personal time. There's no vacations. And if you do take a day or two off, you're taking a day or two off, bringing your business with you. And it's like playing like hot potato a lot in the back end of the business. That being said, Claire had a great business. She has lots of clients that love and adore her. She never actually had to market to get clients because she kind of like just went out there. She helps seniors, and very quickly, she lives in a town that I think everybody basically knows. Like, it's a small town where everybody kind of knows each other. So there's already like know, like, and trust built in. So it became really easy. And then one person told the next to the next. And she just kept saying yes and yes to clients. And then she was like, oh, I have more clients than time. I got to bring in team. And then she brought on some team. But then there were foundational things in the business that weren't in place that we needed to like restructure without letting the whole house. It's like rebuilding the house from the ground up without burning the house down. Right? So
Right.
Go ahead and share like anything else that you wanted to share about that and what your experience has been like in 100K Club.
Yes, thanks. Yes, I just started doing this about 5.5 years ago, and I love it. I had this idea, but I didn't know I had been in business, but I didn't know anything about the structure, the policies, and all that kind of thing. So finally, I had been following Kelly on social media for about 1.5 years, probably, and was very scared to join the club. I did the free thing or watched her videos and was fearful. That was a big thing of mine, of just spending the money, the time, mostly the money. Cause I'm like, well, I'm not going to make this money back. How is it going to be helpful? But I finally did it with lots of, trust, I guess. But the things she and I talked about, what things I could share that I've learned, in the 6 months that I've been doing this, and it has been amazing. I've learned to make better decisions as a CEO and not reaction decisions. Like, I'm very much a feeler. So usually I'll do that, but I've really been learning, and she has to ask me that a lot of times, like, what would CEO Claire do? Which I don't always like, but I know I need that. And then I feel like I've built my business, just like Heather said, built my confidence in the business. Like, I really do offer something really good to people and to families. And I feel like I'm making a difference. And that's really what I wanted. I started out, I wanted to help older people, help families. I love helping, and I love seniors. So I just really want to make a difference. So I feel like I'm building that confidence. And through a lot of this, like, yeah, I'm doing something good. Like, I am making a difference. It's worthwhile. So that's been great. I have learned to make boundaries, because at first when I started to, I was like, I would work weekends. I did sleepovers, sleepovers. If a client had surgery, they wanted someone to spend the night with their parent, just in case they were up, I would do that, really to get the business started and to make money. But, I would work weekends, and wow, this has helped me really look at, what do I want to be doing? Do I want to be doing this? I have adult children in their 20s that two in college and then grown beyond that, but I want to spend time with them. And a lot of times the weekends but I would be going to work or doing things. So I've really had the courage to make boundaries. I still have work to do in that. But I've gotten a lot better. And especially around even the holidays, like usually I'd be like, oh, we'll work on Friday after Thanksgiving. No, I don't want to work on Friday after Thanksgiving. I want to be with my family.
Yeah.
So that has been huge for me, just to feel like it's okay. Makes sense to do this for me.
Yeah. I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want, like, for other people who might be on here, all of us humans, we have, I like to call them a flavor. We have a flavor of goggles that we wear around the world, right? Or, and we see things through like this lens. So some people have these goggles of I'm not enough, like nothing I do is good enough. Like a lot of us wear that goggle all the time. So every time we see a situation out there, we're like, oh, but I'm not good enough, so therefore this won't work for me. Or if I tell them, no, I'm not good enough, and then they're going to leave, right? So a lot of us have those goggles on. Some of us have the guilt goggles on. I feel so bad. They trust me. I can't do this, right? So this is where when Claire is talking about, and so I very quickly can pick this up in the members of the programs. I can see, the fear, the lack mentality, right? Some people have like, I'm going to go broke, right? They could have $2,000 in the bank that they didn't have 6 months ago, and they're like, I'm going to go broke. That's like the not enough. I've totally been there. I used to wear these all the time. So that being said, I'm going to say this with love, but I'll call you out on your shit. Like not just Claire, but everybody. And then at the same time, like I'm just doing it from a place of helping you just step into this bolder, more confident version of yourself. So like when Claire said, like she'll come into our group. We have a private Facebook group for 100K club as well. So we have one for fully booked and we have one just for 100K. And she might ask me a question. And I'm always like, I will give you all of the answers and all of the lands to anything that I know. I don't hold anything back. I am not stingy with my knowledge or information. But sometimes I'm like, and I'm just like, I can answer this for you, but what would CEO Claire want to do? Because at some point when Claire is not in my program, I want her to be empowered to make decisions that is a new version of herself versus the older version of herself. That sometimes what happens when you're in a group, you can be held up by the group, but then when you leave a group, sometimes you kind of slip back into old patterns. So I just wanted to say that if any of you have like those feelings, just like it's because you just have these glasses on that you tend to see the world through. So go ahead, Claire.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And I've had to have that. And I still am working on that for sure. And the other thing was me having the courage I've had to learn. In the summer, I learned quickly with a client, we were doing a lot more cleaning, mopping toilets, and I'm like, no. And the group really helped me think through, and you helped me challenge myself. Like, what do I want to be doing? I love old people. We're not nurses, but we're companion care. So I finally was able to do that. And I've had to really accept I'm not going to do those things. And I may not get a client, but I'm waiting for the right client, which is what I've learned a lot from you, is who's the right client. And I love everybody. I want to help everybody. My friends will ask me for help or refer me. It's all word of mouth for me. So I'm very fortunate and I feel so thankful that way, but I don't like telling people no. So this has helped me to really consider that, doing that. I've learned to increase my rates. I still need a little work on that, but I have people from all over starting at $25 to $45. And so I'm like, I've had to get it's a lot of bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Craziness. So
like how much time is wasted when you have every client is on a different fee and a different rate and this different minimum and so forth. There's so much time. This is what I'm talking about. Like when you have clients or you think, oh, the next thing to do is like, let me hire another helper because I don't have any time. But the reality is you're spending 18 hours a month on bookkeeping bullshit that could be done in 3 hours. And then that fast, you've got all that time back and you don't actually have to hire on another employee or your first employee or your first, helper of any kind.
Yes.
So,
And
yeah.
so I need to, keep with that and feel confident in that. I mean, because I've had to go to a waiting list because I do have team, but I'm also they're all part-time, but I'm trying to not be the technician as much, which is really hard because I love the people, but I can't do both very well. So I had to manage that. And then I feel like I just have had a plan to get things done. Because when I came in, I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm this. I don't have I've never had business policies. I've never had service agreement. And no one's ever asked me. I mean, that's because I live in a town where I know people, or I know a friend of a friend. They just trust me. So that's been wonderful. But I know as a business to grow, I've needed those. So those were some of the first things I worked on. I just didn't know. It's not that I didn't know. I just didn't know how to get there. So, and then lastly, I mean, I went to the CA Live in September and I loved it. I loved meeting people. I mean, I ask a lot of questions. So those of you, I love to learn from everybody else. Like you said, people doing the same thing, whether it's seniors or organizing or, whatever little field or group, I feel like we were doing a lot of the same, and I learned so much. It was great. And I've loved the group of people that, I'm with in the 100K club.
Yeah, that's so good. So, if we go back to the questions that I gave you all today, part of the business review, and then what do you want to change and stop doing? This is how Claire got to that decision. She's like, yeah, I actually don't want to do all this cleaning. So then, but if you have ever built a business, I call it business by default. It's like you start a business and you become the yes ma'am. You say yes to everything just to get the clients, just to get the money. And in the very, very beginning, that is going to be very normal. You're going to take it all on, but I want you to, as quickly as possible, find out what is right for you and what is not right for you. Because here's the thing, and this is why it's not about turning people away. What it's about is for every client that you have it's not quite the right fit, there is a client who is the perfect fit who can't get in.
Right.
So I want you, this is, again, for all of you, something to be thinking about. What changes do you want to be putting in place in your business this year? And maybe you are like a Claire who's already got clients and you want to make changes, but you're afraid of how to implement them. You're not exactly sure. You have some fear, you have guilt. That is what coaching helps you through. Coaching, I can talk about my systems and my processes all day long till I'm blue in the face. That shit is locked down. And I share all that with everybody. And you also get, when you work with me, what I also bring to the table is a lot of coaching experience, mindset experience, money mindset experience that I can weave in to help you just become that different, more advanced version of yourself, if that's what you're looking for. So, is there anything, so for anybody who is on and you're like, well, what is this 100K club? 100K club, we are open for enrollment from now, and that enrollment closes December 15th. You do have to apply. So just email me or my team and ask how you can apply. The application is you need to have made a minimum no less than 10K in the past year, at least. And you also need to be set in your niche. You can't be trying to figure out your niche and come in 100K club because you'll feel completely overwhelmed. You need to be consistent on your niche, be making at least $10,000 in the past year, and be committed to that niche. So then we can turn up the volume, so to speak, to help you extend quickly to 100K and over 100K. So Claire is already over 100K. And as you can see, her stability wasn't around marketing. What she needed was systems, processes, boundaries, team, becoming the leader in the business and her with her clients, and then being able to take time. So how much time have you taken off since you started in July?
Oh, I feel like a lot in the sense of not feeling as guilty. I mean, our son got married in August, so that was like huge, just being focused in that and not feeling as guilty. I mean, I still do feel a little guilty that they're all out there in the field working and I'm doing, but this is it. Like, you've helped me see I'm giving them jobs, and they all work
Yes.
part-time. Their moms, like me, kind of empty nest or close to that and wanted something to do and love to help people. So, and then I was gone. I went to visit a friend, and kind of the 3 days I did work one day, and then the other 2 I really didn't. And then over Thanksgiving, this was the biggest, probably. I really had to shut my mind off from Wednesday afternoon to Sunday night. And not, I mean, that's hard because when you own a business, I don't know, I feel like, well, I can do this at night. I'm sitting on the couch with my husband, or he's working, or the kids are gone, so I can work at night. I mean, and sometimes I do. Like tonight, my husband's working, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do my billing tonight. And that's my choice, because today I'm gonna see a client, but then I might go to lunch with a friend on a different day or whatever. So
having choice is very different than having to or shoulding.
Correct.
Having a choice. Yeah. So if there was anybody that was here who is in that, cusp where, they already have clients fully booked, they don't quite need fully booked, and they want to like double that business and hit that 100K within the next 12 to 18 months, and they were considering enrolling, what would you tell them? Now that you were terrified in the beginning.
And I even signed up, and then I texted her. I'm like, no, my husband's not happy about this. I knew I wanted to do this. My husband's like, what? You can't afford to do this. I'm like, well, I can, it's an expense, but that still is like money out of our pocket. And so I texted her. I was like, no, I have too much going on. It was like buyer's remorse, literally. And then we talked, and then he and I talked again, and he's like, okay. Cause we never make big spending decisions.
Yeah, of course.
So it's definitely been worth it. Just for me to feel more organized, but I'm still on that track, and to just feel the confidence. Like, because my friends are like, you're doing what? And then I'm like, yeah, this is what I do. And then they're like, oh, you're a real business. I'm like, yeah. And that's what I've carried with me the last 3 years, that I wasn't a real business. And I am. So I've gained a lot of that confidence. So I think it's been really valuable for me. And so, like one of the others said, I mean, it does work if you do it. I don't have to do, luckily, a lot of the marketing, so that's kind of.
No, but you're doing other things. You're setting up systems in your business. Like Claire didn't have any systems, because that's, again, part of 100K. Right? Yep. Like setting up systems, setting up billing systems, simplifying your billing before you create a system out of it. And then she'd get in it and she'd be like, oh, this is way too hard. I need to simplify this, right? Because in 100K, it's a lot about time, money, and systems leaks in your business that are going to impact your bottom line and your profitability. So when you even think about like how much time you save then creates more income on the other side, there's like the return is always there.
Time leaks, because I talk to my clients a lot. So you help me say, okay, give them a 30-minute phone call instead of an hour, because I could talk to someone for an hour because, whatever. But that's helped me too.
Yeah, so much. All right. So if somebody was on the fence, what would you tell them?
I would say just do it. I mean, it is a step of faith, in my opinion, just like believing that if you do the work, and I don't even do all of it sometimes because I have a lot to do, like it's taking me time to get through things, but I definitely think it's been worthwhile and would be for sure. And like I said, I've met people that are doing a lot of the same. It's just made me feel so encouraged.
Yes, so good. And we're so lucky to have you as part of our 100K family. All right, so I'm going to put you back. Oh, I did the wrong one again. Here we go. I have to go up here. All right, thank you, Claire. All right, I'm sending Claire back. All right, so for those of you who are here and are interested in Fully Booked Business Club, we already sent an email out a little while ago. It has the link in there. I just want to share just a couple details with you while you are considering it. And let me just, boop, boop. Okay. So the link to join was already sent out. And then I'm just going to share my screen with you real quick. And then I'll answer some questions. So you already have the link already sent in your email. When you go through it, you can read about testimonials and things other people have experienced going through the program. You can just click on the button to enroll. The core thing that we talk about in Fully Booked, again, is your niche, your services, your pricing, and your marketing. Those are the 4 most important things. Like, that's all you need in the beginning. You don't need team or systems or CRMs, and you don't need any of that shit that you'll hear other people talk about and tell you that you need, especially if you're listening to online marketers. 90% of what online marketers are telling you you need, you do not need. Then there's the details, and then it breaks down the different modules that are inside the program. The first 3 are the most valuable that you want to work on right away. It's the networking, the Keep in Touch campaign. Tish mentioned the Keep in Touch campaign briefly when she was speaking, and organic referrals. Then there's also websites. If you do speaking, we talk about speaking and how to book speaking gigs. Speaking is a little bit more advanced, but some people come in and they're like, oh my God, I just want to talk about my business all day long. So you learn how to do that in here. And then social media and doing it right. Again, we talked about having a marketing plan, and posting on social media is not a marketing plan. Okay. So in here, you'll learn how to actually use social media. We have 2 Q&A calls a month. So when you enroll now, you will actually start. Our first call will be January 4th. Our calls are twice a month, the first and the third Thursday of the month at 4 p.m. The first Thursday of the month, our call is a 2-hour call. So it's 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a combination live workshop where we do the work together and Q&A. And then the second Thursday of the month is 1 hour from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And that happens every single month for the entire year. Strategic Planning Day, which is not on the sales page, but just know that when you enroll, you'll do Strategic Planning Day with us on January 15th. It's 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you'll get all the details when you enroll on what we do and how to best be prepared and so forth for this. You'll also have a live pricing workshop where you will do the pricing modules, and then you come to a live workshop. It's 90 minutes, and I will help you finalize and decide all the decisions you need to make on your pricing so that you create your pricing one sheet, and then you are not, the level of your ability to go out and talk about your business is so much stronger when you have that nailed down compared to I think I'm going to do this or maybe that, or I think I understand it, but you're not exactly sure. We do that in the live pricing workshop also. We also have, you heard everybody mention the Facebook community. So there is a private Facebook community specifically for Fully Booked. And I answer questions in there Monday through Friday, as long as I'm not away on vacation. Whatever questions you have, you bring them to the group and I will answer them, and other members of the group will also answer. There's a workbook that is inside the program that you'll download. That is your actual marketing plan. You want to know how to market in 2024? You use that workbook. That is the marketing plan. But we also work on your marketing plan in January to kick off for the entire year. This way, you know exactly what you're going to be doing in July. You know exactly what you're going to be working on in October. We map all that out together as a group in January. So the monthly master classes, I talked about that. Sales and how to have sales conversations, we talk about that. There's Heather right there. And then when you scroll down, there's also things in there like if you're just getting started. Sometimes we have people who are just like literally just getting started. They don't have their name yet. They don't have a bank account yet. They haven't made any business cards yet. That's fine. We can answer all those questions for you inside the program also. Plus, there are modules that actually break that down for you, like how to do the business card, how to set up a website. Again, we don't need a website in the beginning, but for when you're ready, that information is there for you also. How to open a bank account. how to get testimonials, what to do with your testimonials. All that is built into the program, also in some of the bonus classes and courses. Then when you go down, there's some frequently asked questions down here. And then there's a payment plan. There are 4 payment plans to choose from. So when you enroll now, your program will last for 1 year. So it will last until January of next year. So you'll have the entire 2024, which is fabulous. The program itself is $2,000. There are 4 payment plans. If you choose to pay in full, which a lot of people love to do the pay in full option, you also get the contract bundle, which is $497. It's a contract bundle. So it's your contracts, it's key release forms, it's business policies. They're all mine that you get to then use for your own business. And then if you have questions about them, you can bring them to the group, to the calls as well. And I can answer anything that has to do with the contracts as well. Plus there's training, video trainings that go with this contract bundle. So you get the documents and the training so that you know how to actually use the documents, right? It's more like, I don't just give you the documents and be like, okay, just go ahead and use them at whim. I actually go through them individually and tell you when to use them, why to use them, and some like places where people want to initial and why you want to have people initial at certain places. And I mean, to have a contract in place will help you get like bigger projects too. Like if you this helps you show up as a more advanced business owner. So for example, I'm doing another wrapping event this year. And of course, the company needs a contract. So if I didn't have contracts, I would be fumbling trying to figure out how to write a contract. So that is your pay in full bonus if you choose to pay in full. So does anybody have any questions about the program? Or Heather said website, LOL. Yes. Heather built her website in the beginning and she heard me say 1,000 times, don't waste your time or money on a website in the beginning. She has not gotten clients from the website. Not yet, but we can work on that. And actually in 100K Club, I actually, in Fully Booked, I show you how to build a website when you do build a website. And in 100K Club, I teach you how to make sure, how to like amp it up and so that it's more searchable and more, and it just gets found easier. So I mentioned I have 2 clients who have worked with me over the years, and 99% of all their clients actually come through their website. But it wasn't like that in the very beginning. They were in business for like 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, and then the website started to work for them. That's why, again, you don't want to put the website first because you think that's going to be the thing, you post it and everybody's going to find you, and it's just not how it works. Okay, let's see. Thanks so much. I have to jump off. You're so welcome, anonymous attendee. All right. So does anybody have any additional questions about Fully Booked, about the process, what that looks like, or any just questions about what we talked about even today? I have till 1 o'clock. I have a hard stop today at 1 o'clock. Larika, yep, you're right about the site. I know, girl. I told you. I remember your post and your comment on my YouTube video like a year ago, and you're like, "Oh, I'm getting my website together," and I was like, "Girl, that website is not the thing you need." All right, and I don't say that like I'm not gaslighting you, but I am just saying I know what I'm talking about. Trust me, y'all. I do. I've been around the block. Okay. So any other questions anybody else has? Again, I have 8 more minutes. Okay. Let's see. Will this video be in our hub to rewatch in January? I could totally do that. Yeah. For current members? Sure can. I love that idea. So post inside the hub. Great idea, Claire. I will certainly do that for you. Yep. Doug, 100K. Okay. Oh, Doug Baker is Cindy Baker. Cindy, I sent you an email yesterday or the day before just reach out to me so we can get you set up for 100K Club. You are 100% ready for 100K Club. You are in like the position, kind of like what Claire was talking about. And you will get the strategic planning day on January 15th also. 100K Club, our calls for 100K Club are also the first and the third Thursday of the month. They're at 10 a.m. They're 1 hour. We also have Get Shit Done days, which are 2.5 hours once a month. We come together and we co-work together. So Claire talked about like working on her business policies and working on her systems and so forth. That's stuff that we do in our Get Shit Done days. It's like the stuff that you find that you know you need to do as a business owner that you're not finding the time to do because you're too busy and too tired working with clients. We do Get Shit Done days. I want to say they're the first Tuesday of the month, I think, from 10 to 12:30. And then we have systems days. If you've made 30K or more in your business, you become part of 100K Plat. And automatically, there's nothing else you need to do. We just invite you to join us for a systems call. We do systems calls once a month where you start creating some systems in your business. Like Claire was saying, you know, she's created a billing system, like how she bills people, what that looks like, which is how she found out she had all these like time leaks with her billing. Let's see, Bree has worked on almost every system that you can. Onboarding, how do you onboard new clients? You work on that in our systems days. How you follow up with clients, we work on that on systems days. Anything that we can systematize so that you are not running as much inside your business, we are working on it in those during those sessions. Okay, anonymous attendee, if we are new and do not have any clients, will we need to build a list of potential clients? I would like to help senior adults in companion care, non-medical, non-cleaning. You would be perfect for Fully Booked Business Club. You do not need to have any potential clients yet. I teach you how to get potential clients and how to market to get clients and how to do that, and how to do that specifically even for the niche that you want to help, which is seniors, because there's marketing, and then there's also some like specific marketing that we can do specific to the senior industry. So Fully Booked Business Club would be for you. And yeah, you don't have to have any clients. You don't have to have made a single dollar. Last year at this time, Nick joined Fully Booked. He had no clients, had made zero money. The first couple months of his business, we got clear on what his niche really was, the services that he really wanted to offer and what he wasn't going to offer. Because again, when you get started, you think you have to offer everything. You think you want to offer everything, but you quickly will realize that you actually don't. So we mapped out, we worked on his pricing during the pricing workshop. We worked on his niche during our live calls. We even gave him some like framework and some marketing language to use for his business, because his business is a little bit more unique and he doesn't do companion as much. At first, he thought he was going to do a little bit of everything. And actually, he is more handyman odd jobs. And he didn't have the marketing knowledge of how to like pull that out of himself. So once he got that, and again, I think it was Tish talked about how to like use my marketing, my process, right? Like you don't use my marketing, you use my marketing process, like how to meet people, how to tell them what it is that you do, teach people how to hire you or refer you, what a referral campaign looks like, how to network, how to network in the real world, how to network in a business world. And so he came in, and then we created his marketing around like where he's just naturally strong, right? So like social media is not his jam at all. So because it's just not his jam, why would I force him to do social media? It's not for him. So we created his marketing plan that was very specific to him, the services he was offering and where he lived and what what he's naturally good at. And then the first 3 months, so he was on a call about 2 weeks ago or so. So the first 3 months of 2023, so he had made $0. He joined in December, like he joined fully booked this time last year. We kicked off in January. And the first 3 months of the year, he made $1,100 in the first 3 months of the year. And in the next 7 months, so this was through the end of October, he made $44,000. This is what is possible when you just follow the recipe. It's getting clear on your niche, clear on your pricing, clear on the services you're going to offer and not offer, because then when you know those things, that helps inform and you get clearer in your marketing. And then you take your marketing out into the world, which is how people learn about you. And then you start bringing clients in. Okay. Okay. You are so welcome, Cindy. Yeah, definitely. I think I sent it like 2 days ago. We want to definitely get you signed up. All right. Any other questions? I've got 1 minute left. I see some of you are still on. I'm here for you. Just ask, what other questions do you have? Benji, you want to say hi? Want to say hi to the peoples? Oh, we have here's Benji. You get to see him on some of our live calls. He's got his little sweater because I've become that kind of pet parent. Okay. You're so welcome, Claire. Heather, you're so welcome. Anonymous, you're so welcome. All right, friends. So, yeah, if there's any other questions, let me think real quick if there's anything else. So when you join, when you enroll, as soon as you enroll, you'll get an email almost immediately. It might take up to 5 minutes. You get an email right away that gives you a login. It's a link and a login and a password, and you will access the member hub. And inside the member hub has all of your curriculum. It has all the Q&A calls from this year. There's bonus workshops in there. There's a bonus holiday workshop that I did last month that is in there. The recording is in there. There's a bonus. The 2K in 30 days is so good. Like if you really want to learn how to like make your money back right away, like that, those are the most important things that you can do. There is the link for all of our calls. If you can't, my recommendation is that you put all the calls on your calendar right away for the entire year, and then do everything in your power to make every single one of those calls. If there is a call, let's say it's your birthday or you're on vacation, you're not going to be dinged for not showing up for a call. Life is life, do life, but then make sure you just carve out an hour to watch the replay. Everything that we do there, all the replays are also put up into the hub. So that's like Claire asked about if this workshop will be inside the hub, and I will absolutely do that. So everybody has access to this as well. We will have strategic planning day on January 15th. That recording will also go inside the hub so that you can rewatch it if you need to go back and rewatch it. There might even be strategic planning day from last year that's already in the hub that if you want to binge and you're a learner and you love to learn, you can go in right away. If there are certain things that it's really easy to navigate. There's a start here button in there. You can do the pricing module. If you're stuck on your pricing, you do the pricing. There's a module in there that's broken down to like hourly rate, package rates, working with seniors. If you offer organizing and downsizing, that's already in there. So that might be the first thing that you want to work on. But then we also have a live pricing workshop where you'll bring your pricing to me, and I will just like make sure and kind of give you your little seal of approval and make sure that it just it still makes sense. All right, Mrs. S, thank you. You're so welcome. Rita, you're so welcome. All right, Larika, you're so welcome. Beverly, You're so welcome. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed today's workshop. I was really excited to put this one on. I've never taught this workshop like this before. I've actually never taught this content before, except probably as part of like Fully Booked or Inside 100K Club. But again, we do it in more depth in there where we're all on screen together. Normally in our calls, everybody's on screen together so that we can see each other and we can communicate and we build relationships together. There are times where you get to co-work with the other people in the group. Yeah, so I hope to see some of you in your enrollment, and I'll get to see you in January. All right, my friends, if you have any other questions about the program or how to get enrolled, or what's the right spot even for you, if you're like, I'm not sure if this is the right spot for me, just shoot me an email and I'll be sure to answer you. And I will see you all next time. Bye, friends.